Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. And I hope you are well from wherever you are currently hailing from. Welcome to the Unified Personal Development with myself, Wendy Morgan. I am a spiritual mentor. Been working in this field since I was born, and my lovely co-host basically has the same MO. She has had this. We both have been intuitive and channeling spirit since we have been born. So my co-host is Dr. Velvet. Doctor, you want to say hello and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Velvet, the metaphysician, and it is kind of eerie how parallel our lives are. Like when I hear you talking, I'm like, wait a minute, she stole my story.
Yep, I think I found my soul sister, guys. Oh, Lord, this is beautiful. So, guys, welcome. This is the module 3 of the deprogramming, deprogram money, and reprogram possibilities. So, the last 3 weeks, we've been going over diagnostic tools and different techniques such as tapping that you can remove those programs to clear that runway. So, more prosperity can basically land in your life, and you can, basically create whatever you like. Now, I'm just going to go off script here for a few minutes and just say the time, we didn't get this on recording because we just weren't recording when Velvet and I were talking about it a while ago. The time that we're currently in is amazing. I mean, let's say the stage is being set as far as us stepping up and say that again, the stage actually is set for us to step up, step into our power, into our creative forces, and really decide what you want. And here we are giving you the tools of how to bring that about into fruition. But prior hand, I'm human, just like everybody else. I go dip down, I go, wallow in those low vibrations, just like everybody else. And um, for the past, I think 3 days, or shared earlier, Velvet shared a wonderful post that kind of snapped me into oh yeah, I need to do my work too. We all need to do this work, guys. But Spirit kept saying to me, you are the creator of your experience, and repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. And that's similar to a mantra. And we'll go over mantras later. But literally, it's just a matter of reprogramming your mind away from you are separate from the divine, away from the external world creates you. It's not true. You don't do anything. You're powerless. That's not true. So we're deprogramming that low vibration, that lie out of our consciousness. And we're going to start reprogramming in new ways of looking at things and realizing you are a co-creator. You, I, Velvet, we all have created a focus together to create this beautiful world. And just think, if we all start to go ahead and really expand our imagination, just think about the things that we could create. Velvet, any thoughts?
There is a story about a goddess that comes down to earth and she experiences a lot of trauma and a lot of pain. And I can't remember the goddess's name, but it is a story that's kind of well known in metaphysical terms. But the other gods say, why do you go down to earth and have all of this suffering? It's unnecessary. You're a god. Just come back up here. And she says, I do it because I know I can. So I want you to think about that. You're here because you knew you could. You came here because you knew that you were going to ascend again. You also came here to forget so that you could experience. But a lot of times those emotions get trapped, and those emotions, those beliefs now create an external reality for you that you really believe in. So while we're doing this is going to be amazing today, but it's also amazing because you're learning some of the just simplest things and how to co-create. Instead of complaining about your life, you'll find, wait a minute, I remember when I did that before. How do I want to see it different this time? And hopefully sometime I'll get to share the experience. I don't think I've shared it, about being homeless here, but I'd like to share that sometime because really it is just like Wendy just said. it is your decision. So when God said, well, what do you want? With that snickety little voice, it was a realization in my 19-year-old mind that made me realize that I do have a choice. I do get to decide what kind of life I have. So I am just so appreciative of all of you being here because we're all vibrating that planet one person at a time, one patch at a time, one thought at a time. So hang on, buckle up.
I love that. All right, so let's get to work, to what we actually came here to do. And let's see here. There we go. Let me change a few things so I can see everything. Okay, so welcome to part 3 of regaining your, oh, this is regaining your knowledge, regaining your power courses by myself and Dr. Velvet. So today is part 3, or I got here module 1B because we already went through 1A, and now this is 1B, and this will be concluding using diagnostic tools to find your program, then reprogram your programs. So this will be the end of this. So you have all the tools you need to basically learn how to find your programs and therefore how to remove them. And we haven't actually gone into reprogram. Well, I guess we have, because when you're tapping, right, you're tapping that this is okay, I'm okay with this, and I'm at peace with it. That is reprogramming that whole vibration. So let's go into the next one here. So today, guys, we'll see. It's my goal every day to be about, an hour or less. And we keep going over, but that's me. So first of all, we're going to open it up just with a quick Q&A. If anybody has any quick questions about what we've already gone over in past weeks, then we're just going to slowly just recap what we went over last week, just a short recap. And then which is going basically the dowsing, the pendulum, and being aware of emotional triggers is what that recap is all about. And then we're going to kind of go into more and new information. What basically happens in the very beginning of when we first come here. Learning about emotion, which is E, energy, and motion. It's energy and motion is what emotion is. And then we're going to go over the emotional code book, which basically just kind of gives you some little more, another tool for you to look at, because I know some people's like, I don't really feel anything. I'm not really being triggered, or maybe you're not yet in that space of awareness and observation with yourself, that you are not really aware of your emotional triggers. And that's okay. You'll get there. The more you pay attention, the more you're observant to yourself and your thoughts, to yourself and your environment, et cetera, et cetera. But in the meantime, that emotional code book could very well come in handy. And then we're going to slightly step into the I'm Agape process. And then we're going to go into my mantras. So with that, let's get a move on. So Q&A. Any questions? You can raise your hand or just unmute yourself because there's not very many of us here. Any questions about anything? How I'm having troubles clearing something out. Anything? Just open your mic and let me know, or let us know, I should say. Nobody? Everybody's clear?
Wendy, since I missed last week, I guess I'm going to have to get a hold of you through Telegram so I can get the replay. And I know there'll be a little donation fee involved.
Yeah, at the end of every single one, there is the Venmo picture. And so you can just literally take a picture of that with your phone. It'll automatically take you to my Venmo, and you can donate whatever you want. And guys, I am not judgmental. If, $5 is all you can do, or that's fine. If $20, whatever it's worth to you, that's fine. There's no judgment. And then you'll have that link, and that link will be available to you as long as YouTube carries it. Okay. Any other questions? Great question.
This is
I want to make a comment. Oh, I'm sorry, Sherry, but I want to go ahead and make this comment that if you guys
are on Wendy's Telegram group, I've put a Robert.
Oh, sorry. I accidentally muted you, love.
Oh, that's okay. Robert Smith video for the faster EFT. And then I also did a TikTok video where the lady shows you a demonstration in using the dowsing rods. So go and check those out. They're really cool.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. I meant to add that to today, but completely forgot. So thank you. Okay. Shari.
Yes, thank you. I would like to use the technique when I get charged with my sweetheart. Um, and I mean, I've been using it for the money thing and it's been great. Now, I guess I could just play around with when my emotions are charged. I'm really working on staying centered. Pointing the finger at myself and working on me instead of when I get triggered by whatever that behavior is to really realign myself. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah. While our focus here is about, of money, because that kind of,
yes.
gets everybody's attention, right? Oh, everybody wants, to be a little bit more thriving. But no, you're hit a beautiful point, Shari, which is that's just a tiny tip of the iceberg, right? Man, we can clear out so much, of the friends we're attracting. And I don't know if you've heard this from Wayne Dyer, Shari, which is if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. That works. I put that into action one time, and that completely works. So yes, clearing out, relationship, okay, all right, I'm not feeling comfortable the way I'm talking to, or, actually, Velvet's the expert with the tapping aspect. Velvet, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, anything that we have done regarding any of the emotions.
Regarding money or value or worth, because Shari, really all relationships are about our self-worth and our value, right? So if I'm having an issue or being triggered with a significant other, then there's something that that person is showing me that I need to say, wow, I didn't realize I didn't value myself in that, and then just tap that. Right. It's really good to tap it. And then of course you can always re-muscle test it too. And we'll talk about that a little bit further as well, in making sure that you're kind of honing in on the right area.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you
And a
so
lot of
much.
that is it. A lot of times we're not honing in on the right area because we want to say, I want to avoid that altogether.
Yep, that happens all too often. Great question. Yeah, and we'll go further into different topics, as when we conclude this particular topic about money. But these tools that you're learning in this particular section,
Thank you.
they apply to everything.
So Palm has her hand up. Can you unmute?
Yeah, aloha. It's Pomai. If you want to use a short version of my name, it's Pomai. It's easy.
Oh, Pomai. Okay.
And I listened to Wendy talk about journals the other day, and I was looking at my room and I went, oh my gosh, I have a whole shelf of journals there that are from like I don't even know when, because I haven't journaled for a long time. And so I got them out and I started reading them. And what I realized is that there's some patterns in there that I had like 30 years ago that I still have, or not as big, but I still have them. So I thought, wow, this is a good source to go to find, because I've had trouble finding my patterns. Is a good source to go to find my patterns and see what they are and start working on those, and then burn them as soon as I'm done, because I'm feeling like I need to release all of that, and it's but it's been totally illuminating to go back that far and read things I'd totally forgotten about, just absolutely gone from my mind, and especially patterns with my mother that I didn't even recognize, that I didn't remember that I had recognized that much about my mom back in the day. And the other thing is I discovered was I was pretty damn awake, and knowing what was actually going on in my life with me and with others, and how I was being triggered, and how I needed to heal patterns before they could release, and I would move on to some, let go of people that weren't serving me anymore in my life. So I just want to say thank you so much for all that you guys are doing. I just love you so much, and really, really appreciate what you're doing.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I love the fact that you first acknowledged, oh my gosh, these patterns, and they came from the mother. So I want to go address that in a minute. But then you came back and go, and I realized I was awake. I'm really grateful that you were able to see, wow, even back then, you gave yourself some kudos, and I really, really like that. When a child is born to a mother, if the mother is unavailable, if they have some sort of very strong vibration, whether it's fear, regardless of what it is, the child will try to pull some of that energy away from the mother to themselves. And the reason the child does this is because they want to try to make the mother more available, right? Because we're dependent upon, our caregiver, our mother, our father, whatever it has to be, to basically take care of us and make sure we're living. We need nurturing, we need food, et cetera, et cetera. And we do this. And while it's in good thought, right, we think we're helping the person. It's also called enabling. We learn that as we get older, and we might find ourselves getting engulfed in relationships and enabling people and taking things over. And don't worry, I'll take care of that for you. That basically where that particular energy and mindset kind of stems from. But the other part of it is when we take it from our parent, it is now lodged in our cellular body like it's our own, and it's not. And that's why Velvet, and myself, we went over earlier, muscle test. Is this mine? Is this my mother's? Is this my father's? And it's sometimes easier to just, if we find out it's okay, is it my mother's? Yes. Okay, what percentage of this is my mother's? Is it 100%? Yes. Okay, so I know if I just, tap this out, it's gone. It's not mine. I have like a little clearing statement says, I command this is pulled, canceled, and removed and returned to its creator with consciousness. And I always thought, God, that's really bad. We should just kind of neutralize it before we return it to the original person. But no, they need to wake up because we don't want to enable anybody more. They need to wake up so they can come to their own Christ consciousness. Velvet, any thoughts?
No, not really. Anything that you said, that was really good, putting it into that perspective.
Just to put a cap on all that, this all happened 30 years ago, and my mother passed soon after. I wrote this particular journal I was looking at yesterday, and she she had clever ways. She was suffering from her mother. She always wanted her mother's approval, and she never got it, and she was always unhappy about that. She resented me because her mother loved me, my grandmother loved me, and I found out when she passed that out of 99 children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, I was the only person that loved her. Everybody else hated her because she was so mean, but she was never mean to me. And so it was like, oh, okay. And why is she mean to my mom? I didn't understand that. But then when I started looking back and understanding my mom's patterns, I realized, well, she was passing that on to me. So what I got out of that 30 years ago was don't pass that on to your kids. Don't go that way. So let's heal that right now. And my mom always she was a master of the lie, and she always would tell me, I love you, honey, I love you, honey. And I always felt like she was lying to me when she said that. And then when in this time frame that I wrote this journal, she actually came clean with me and told me uh, she actually went into a rage and started hitting me and beating on me and telling me, I hate you. I've always hated you. I don't know why you're here. I hate you. I wish you were never born, blah, blah, blah. And she went off on me. I was 40 something years old when she did this. So I got it from a mature place, not a child place. But it restored my sanity because all my life I felt like she hated me. And then I found out she didn't. She really did hate me. And so it was a healing. And then very shortly after that, she passed away. So it was such a blessing because she called me just the day before she died and she said, I love you, honey. And when she said it, I felt it and she really meant it. And then the next day she died. And it was like, oh, thank God she did that for me. That was such a wonderful gift. Even though I had to go through 40 years of this other stuff, but it was such a gift. And I don't, I think looking back and thinking about our history really really opens doors for us. So I'm just grateful for all the doors that are opening right now again, and happy to be here.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and trusting all of us. Thank you. That was an honor. Thank you for sharing that. Megan, you want to mute yourself?
I just want to know if I can get in on your Telegram group.
Oh, you're not in there?
I don't think so. I looked and I didn't see which one is yours.
It is called, oh, I'm on the wrong spot. It's called Unified Personal Development. You will not be able to, it's only come in via invite.
Okay.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-dum. Invite link. Share link, copy. And if you remind me at the end, I'll go ahead and put it up in chat so you can copy it, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
But please remind me.
I just
Okay.
put it into the chat room for
Oh,
you.
you did? Okay, thank you, love. I was like,
You're welcome.
Velvet's pretty quick with these things. Okay, any other questions before we move on? Okay. All right, I see Eileen. Okay, yeah, just go ahead, go on in there and, all right, so let's move on then. All right. All right, so kind of recap from last week, guys. So Velvet, I'm gonna let you take this since you took it last week.
Oh, so, okay. Let me make sure I'm on the same page here. Yeah, so the pendulum is really a neat way for you to be able to connect with your inner wisdom, your divine guides, and get a clear answer of and whether that is up and down, circular, just find out what the answer is. And then you can, a lot of times your pendulum, like I said last week, can choose you. But if you are choosing your pendulum, and I didn't say this last week, if the pendulum is not choosing you, then choose one that you like and then just connect with it and just ask a yes or no. Would they like to go home with you? Are you ready to go home with me? And it'll give you a yes or no. And just play with it. Just keep practicing. So I don't want to say any more on that, but practice, practice, practice.
Okay. And then the other diagnostic tool that which we're adding to your, everything that we have offered for you. This is another diagnostic tool, and it's called dowsing. And what I would recommend is that I think Bella, did you just share something on that in the chat?
Yeah, so on our Telegram, the young lady does these regularly. She's on TikTok and she does a list of questions that people have sent questions into her, and she will hold them. And it was very similar to what Wendy made last week. But I wanted you to see hers are made out of metal and how the answers are derived and the questions that she is asking. So that'll be a really good review for you.
Yeah, because neither one of us are very big dowsing people. We use our pendulums, we use muscle testing. So if this is something that interests you or just to have fun with, definitely go to that link and follow that out and you get more information there. Okay, so now we're going to go into emotional triggers. So your emotional trigger is your natural diagnostic tool. It is wonderful. It will tell you everything that's going on in your body, but we have to get in that space of observation and witnessing ourselves. So, like for instance, just sitting here, I feel very giddy, right? I've got a lot of little bubbles or carbonation in my upper body, and I know because things, man, energy is going to really get moving and grooving. So I'm picking that up. So I'm not really feeling anything that necessarily needs to be cleared out. Now, just as soon as I said that, I got remembered what's been looping in my head. And all of a sudden I felt it in my gut. So whether you have an emotion or physical experience, both of those are telling you something that's going on, something that's vibrating within your cells. And that's something to really pay attention and start asking questions and really get down to the root cause and then either tap it out, or later we're going to learn a little bit about the Amagape process, and you can perhaps go further into that with me. So that I love emotional triggers. And the beautiful thing about clearing out these programs that are very low, you can think about your floor being third dimension, or this physical dimension that, sorry, something keeps touching my foot. The lower vibrations, third dimension, and the ceiling being the fifth dimension, or, ascension. And in between is the fourth dimension, which is the process of mastering your divinity, having more of your divine, higher vibrational self come in with your natural gifts. But you can't lift a weighted balloon. You have to first get rid of the weights. And so by deprogramming yourself, tapping out these low vibration, or using the Imagape method, you will be completely ridding yourself of these low vibrations. So you're no longer shackled to them, and your balloon will rise higher and higher. The higher you are in vibration, the more you're going to attract the more you are going to create what you desire to create in this world. So you no longer will be shackled to these things. So let's put these emotional triggers in check, as I said earlier, by tapping or using Imagape. We're going to go through the Imagape here in a minute. So in the beginning, your spiritual body and your etheric body were presented in the moment you were created. You were already focusing energy into your body, into the fetus from the moment it was created. In fact, you were probably, because we all have agreements with our parents, or should I say with those souls that become our parents. And we basically we're around them even prior hand. But when that moment of creation, our energy is already inside the womb. But it's mainly just your spiritual and your etheric body. So your spiritual or your eternal self, right, is in very, very high vibration. And then in order to come into this third dimensional realm, which is a low vibration, it has to go through what we call the quantum field, or the etheric realm. And it has to go through that. Now that quantum field is more like a transducer. It takes that very high vibration and brings it down to a more doable vibration that's understood and can be used in the third dimensional vibration. So when you basically, and then when you're in the body and you're born, your emotional body is the next one online. So you're in your emotional body as an infant. Because your emotional body is the bridge between the etheric and the spiritual, and the physical and mental. And so it is the bridge between the higher vibrational aspects and the lower vibrational aspects, i.e. your mental and physical body, which does not completely develop for another 22 years. You experience during the first 15 years and beyond are stored within your vibrational memory within your cells, also known as your cellular memory. So literally your brain is not developed when we're first born, right? Nor is your physical body. So all the experiences and the confusion and the joys and the love, all of that, all those vibrations are stored within our cells. Anything you want to add on to that, Velvet?
The power of this is really kind of unconscious to us, and I'll share this with you because in Scientology, now I'm not recommending it. I wanted to experience what they were all about, but they do a program where you are going back in a time that's in your mind. And I remember one of the events is that I'm in the womb and there is a twin with me. There is another baby in the womb with me. And I remember saying, I can heal you. Like, don't go away. I can heal you. Like, I knew that this being was going to leave. And they make you repeat that over and over again. And then suddenly this light took off and I started laughing and I opened my eyes and he says, now close your eyes. I'm like, what was that? And it was just so profound to me that I walk in this world saying I can heal you. Like my thing has always been is that I'm a healer. And I did not even realize or even think about that it could have started within the womb, but it did. And I like that Wendy brought the fact out about us in our emotional bodies as babies, because that's how we're communicating. We communicate via our emotions, our needs, our desires, any discomforts. Sure, there's a physical body that is acclimating to this as well and is communicating with it, but it is an emotional response, right? And so you can even see this in babies when they're laying there and they're grinning and they're smiling and they look up like they're seeing something else. They're not conscious of their physical self. They are very conscious of their emotional self. And it's just absolutely beautiful to watch. So I wanted to share that with you because, Wendy's right on point that a lot of these things can take place even before you've had an opportunity to experience the world.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, and guys, even when we're babies, yes, the emotional body is how we communicate to the world, but we also got to remember our etheric body is way huge and it's picking up everything and so you see all of a sudden babies all of a sudden go, looking off into Never Land and laughing, and you're like, what are you laughing at? They're picking up different spirits. They're picking up different energies that are around that we have learned to dumb ourselves down and not see anymore. And that's all through programming as well. And another thing I really want to point out here, as far as, Dr. Velvet's talking about going to Scientology, we also have been programmed, oh, don't go there, that's the work, the D work, the devil's work. You don't want to go there. And guys, you got to remember, God created everything on this planet, everything in this experience. God created everything, including Scientology, including tarot cards, including, whatever it may be. And if you feel the desire to go, like Dr. Velvet did about Scientology, well, it didn't give her the light, but it gave her the step, right? She went in there, and if she didn't go in there and go through what she was, what they were teaching in the moment, she would have never had that experience of realizing I'm a healer, right? So listen to your intuition, even it's in areas that you're like, I've been told, not that I feel is not a good place for me to go, but I'm been told it's not a good place to go. Listen to your intuition and literally go into, I know for a long time, I used tarot cards as a guidance to open me up, to get me to that next step. I don't use them anymore. It was fun and it did help me in some areas, but it was just another stepping stone.
And that's a good point too, Wendy, because just like with the experience with Scientology, it was because there was all this fear around it. And God said, there's nothing to fear. I want you to go. And when I told my husband, I said, I'm going to go to church today and I'm going to a Scientology church. He goes, oh, okay. Like it was nothing, like it was an everyday thing. But when it was time to step away, Spirit was also just as strong with that. Right. So it wasn't that it was bad or good. It was that I needed to see that there was nothing to be afraid of. But again, it's still about the kind of choice and the kind of lifestyle I want to have. And that was not it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. You remind me of that story, you guys. So, people come into our life, yes, because you're going to learn that they are basically reflecting what we're vibrating. Yes. But other people come into our life to teach us something, to have us take that next step. And a lot of us don't take that next step unless it's uncomfortable. We don't like to change, but sometimes we need to be in that uncomfortable zone to really make that change. And they're there to be that catalyst. And sometimes for some of us, it might not be a positive, good feeling catalyst. I was my father, as I said earlier, I saw him try to kill my mother a couple of times. A lot of people go, oh my God, it's a horrific catalyst. It's a horrific. How could you say this is a good thing to use as a good catalyst? Because it made me be aware it opened up my intuition, no, opened up my empathy, me being empathetic, of feeling him, knowing when his demon was going to come in and how hell is about to break loose. If that never happened, I never would have been forced to go into that state of being empathic. So, whenever something comes into your life, I always like to refer to that Japanese story, where I don't know if you guys have heard this, where the farmer says, he has a son, and the son gets thrown, he's trying to break a horse, and he gets thrown off and he breaks his leg, and all the neighbors go, "Oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry to hear your son, broke his leg. That's just really terrible." And he's like, "I don't know. We shall see. I don't know if it's good or bad. We shall see." Now, right there, he's creating what? Distance. So he can observe and just witness and not be emotionally tethered and be dramatic about the scenario. You got to remember, we all are programmed to be drama fiends. We love drama. And until you deprogram that out of yourself, you're still going to go for that drama aspect. But nevertheless, he was not involved with the drama about his son breaking his leg, right? He just said, "No, we'll see how this works." In the next scenario in that story, I guess the government came around and said, "We're collecting young men to fight in our war. Oh, your son has a broken leg. Well, he can't come." Neighbors showed up and they're, "Oh my God, that's great news. Look at that." Again, the farmer said, "I don't know, good or bad, we shall find out." Right? He was not emotionally attached. He just allowed it to see. And that's exactly how spirit shows up with you. The more you look at things via observation and a witness, you are going to see so many wonderful opportunities and things popping up. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, so we're going to go into emotions. Now, I want to really pay attention to the very top of this, guys. So E equals energy plus motion is emotion. Emotions are literally energy in motion. I love emotions. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing to basically start focusing on for yourself. So emotions are vibrations / frequencies that are felt in the human body. We can measure this frequency in the form of hertz. As you see to the right-hand side, we have enlightenment, at 700 hertz. It's amazing. And then shame all the way down to 20 hertz. For instance, as I said, shame is there, and fear is also at 100, and they're very low vibrations, yet acceptance is at 350, love is at 500, peace is at 600. They're all high vibrations. The more you're in those high vibrations, guys, the more you're in alignment with the truth of who you are, with your true divinity. The more you're in lower vibrations, the more you are out of alignment and following somebody else's program. And that's what this whole series which we're teaching you is about, is working on really tapping out, removing, reprogramming those lower vibrations. The more you're in those higher vibrations, you're in that space, like I said, of alignment. Man, creation is just coming left and right, and you can bring things into fruition. Feel it?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and you can pendulum test yourself or muscle test yourself to find out where your current state of consciousness is, or your frequency. On the quantum biofeedback, we also look at where you are on this tone scale. So that's another avenue for folks as well. But a very simple muscle test will let you know, where are you living in? What space are you living in? And to put this into perspective and how quickly you can change it. And we're going to be talking about mantras today. So one of my sons was sexually abused when he was a teenager. And so we realized he was experiencing a lot of shame. He was having a lot of trouble with it, even though he wasn't the perpetrator. He was one that was the victim. I simply gave him a statement that every time that comes up, I want you to say to yourself that children can be curious, and that curiosity kind of takes over. And what happened is that he was able to move up this tone scale by saying, wait a minute, this happened because somebody else was curious. And yes, I felt like a victim, but I don't have anything to feel guilty over. This person just wasn't conscious. This person was asleep. And then it allowed him to move up that tone scale. And we were watching it as it was happening. And he moved into that anger. And while he was in that anger, we said it's completely acceptable that you are angry about this situation, but that you were not the cause of that anger. So again, you have to find that mantra to move up. And remember, none of these emotions are bad. They help you as a stepping stone. If you suppress anger, which is going to be in the liver, then this is where Dolores Cannon says that a lot of people who suppress their anger develop cancer in the liver because they're suppressing the anger, because they're told, oh, you're not supposed to feel that. But by feeling it, you're allowing yourself now to say, I want something different, and make that decision in how to rise above that anger. So, and these are all going to go up and down, right? So there's going to be days where you just are angry and you don't even know why. And then you look at the Schumann resonance and you say, oh, okay, this is the universe, this is the collective. So I can move through this. And you just are kind with yourself. And what did you do? You moved into acceptance. Oh, this is about the collective consciousness. Now I'm accepting, or maybe I'm willing to go for the ride, right? And maybe I start saying, gosh, I really love my world and how it all works. Have fun with yourself. Say those little mantras that make you laugh and make you smile, but also honor and respect yourself when you do feel fear or feel grief or that you feel that guilt. Give yourself that space too, because if you don't, you're going to stay there. And whatever we resist will persist. So that's something you need to write down, that whatever I resist is going to persist. So don't resist it. Allow it to move through you. So thank you for allowing me to share that.
Oh, thank you. So another thing I want to bring up, guys, is we also have been programmed that certain emotions are not okay to feel, kind of like what Velvet was just alluding to, anger or fear or feeling guilty or even shame. I know that, and I think we brought this up before, as a child, if I were crying, even like hypothetically, I stubbed my toe, right? But I was crying because it was triggering my father's pain inside his body, right? Now he's emotionally triggered. Then he turned around to me and go, if you don't stop crying, I'll give you something to cry about. And the whole psychology behind that is he's got a trigger. He does not know how to deal with it. He doesn't even acknowledge that's there. He's just being overwhelmed by something. He's not even in that space of being observant and being the master of being witnessing his body. He's on autopilot, right? And so he just feels this huge trigger. And so if he has a physical outburst, such as spanking me, then that is a relief for him, right? I didn't get acknowledged, right? Because my toe was, busted or whatever the problem was. So I didn't get acknowledged, but it was all about his emotional trigger. So, but nevertheless, we learned that crying is not okay. And even to this day, guys, I'm almost 60. And I still don't like crying in front of people, even my family members. I'd rather go downstairs in my room, hug my pillow, and put on my music and just let it go, let it rip. It is really challenging for me to cry in front of my children because that program is so deeply rooted in fear, right? That I'm not accepted. And of course, I'm hearing somebody, well, have you ever cleared it? I probably have worked on it, but not enough, obviously. I'm just human, just like you. But a second thing that I want to also mention is, when we are in soul form, pure energy, pure unconditional love, and we're looking down or looking into this human experience, we don't feel love. We don't feel anger. We feel the vibration of 500 hertz. We feel the vibration of 150 hertz. It's just a vibration. It's just a frequency to us in our energy form. Hence, as Dr. Velvet was basically alluding to, is no emotion is bad or worse. No, it's just a vibration. It's just a vibration to our truth of who we are. We have to remove those judgments that this human experience has experienced this lifetime. We have to remove those judgments of, oh, I feel pain, I feel fear, I just don't want to feel that. It's just a terrible thing to feel. No, you need to learn how to embrace it, because that's part of you and it's just a vibration. So we'll go further into that as we move on. You want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. So emotion is energy in motion, like Wendy has said. And most of us have probably, kind of felt that, like we know that that's real. So your cells are complex, energetic, and energy in motion all the time, folks, all the time. They are 72% water, and scientists have learned that water is the greatest source of holding memory. Therefore, detecting and clearing negative memory stored in your cells is essential. These emotions, frequencies are constantly vibrating, singing their song of any experience of a time ago, wanting to be heard. Don't we all want to be heard? They are broadcasting to catch the attention of a like vibration, attracting it, pulling it closer until you have another similar experience. If we are aware, this process would be showing us what we are holding within our cellular body so we could clear it and be free of that shackle to that memory, experience, emotion, and frequency. Now, when we talk about pulling it closer until you have another similar experience, this is what I call the familiar pattern or the familiar frequency that is happening or experience that you're going to now feel familiar with that experience, even if it's negative, it's what you know. And a lot of people have a hard time changing their thoughts or changing how they feel about something because they don't know how to feel about it. And if they did, then what am I going to experience if I change this idea? And I read something very interesting just the other day where a lot of people will hold on to those negative thoughts or be those naysayers because they're afraid of being wrong. They're afraid of being wrong. So it allows them have a higher percentage chance of saying, oh, this isn't going to work out, and then to be able to prove themselves right. But I want you to hear this. Whatever you are thinking and whatever you are believing, you are correct. You will always be right because you're creating that experience. And so it gets to be like a neural network that really ties in. And, there's so many of you that are on here, and it's reason why Wendy and I do this work for ourselves is because we want to reprogram that neurological connections that's continuing to create a reality that we're no longer enjoying, that we want to experience something different. And there is such gratitude when you finally get to have that experience and you get to rest. You get to rest. You don't have to be processing yourself 24/7. You get to now enjoy that experience of that cleared emotion and in reverence, right? So you're celebrating with yourself. You're giving yourself a reward for the effort of clearing out that energy. So whenever you continue to do something over and over and over again, it's because that you are familiar with that and that feels safe. And it's okay. Give yourself permission to be okay with it until you're ready to clear it out. So you want to add to that, Wendy?
No, I think it's fantastic. You hit it on the nose. So yet we have not been aware of these, these triggers of people showing up. We're still in that, co-pilot mode when someone, like that story that I shared earlier, that guy blocking when I was parking, he blocked me from getting out, and there, I felt triggered. And if I weren't aware, I'd be like really scared, right? Oh my gosh, someone's trying to control me. My life might be in, danger, going into that drama state. So mainly we have not been aware, yet we're doomed to repeat these experiences, feeling like a hamster within the wheel. No matter how much we try, we don't gain any ground. So that's why we keep, kind of repeating again and again and again. Be that observer, be that witness what's going on in your mind, be that witness to how you're emotionally responding. And I think there's maybe we need to go with a little more clarity about that. Being that witness of once you start paying attention, just like I was paying attention to my thoughts, and I continue and actually I wasn't paying attention, but spirit smacked me, but I was consistently looping in a really emotional moment for me that happened about a month ago that really hurt my heart. And I'm really having a hard time letting it go and just understanding it, because I'm a type of person, I have to look at it from all aspects, guys. I'm very logical, so I got to really pick it apart, and probably don't need to do that, but that's the way I'm set up. But nevertheless, until spirit said, this is a lower vibration, right? So I've got my mantras, which is, this is a lower vibration. Oh, I don't want to go there. Let's clear this out. Or, this is the dark trying to go and keep you from rising in your light. That's another, little mantra that spirit shared with me. And I'm like, oh, you're right. I'm not going to go and give this any more energy. So, we really paying attention to you. That's why this is so, so important. So once you clear out, just like, looking at, like we were talking about the journals earlier, looking at the journals and going, oh my God, I have repeated again and again and again. These are experiences that are consistently repeating themselves because the universe is just trying to show up and go, you need to clear this out. Pay attention. What is this all about? What are you feeling? What are you thinking? What are your thoughts? Follow it down to the root and tap it out, or agape it out. So the vibrations we hold within ourselves go back even beyond when you were in the womb, as I spoke about earlier. These held vibrations can lead to pain, self-sabotage, emotional problems, and all kinds of malfunctions and diseases within our being, such as physical pain, anger, depression, chronic fatigue, PSD, phobias, panic attacks, and more. And feeling somebody's like, oh, self-sabotage, I can feel, I can resonate with that when I can feel somebody's feeling that. So finding your stored emotions is as easy as being observant to your emotional triggers, as I just went over, following them to the previous and so on. Basically, we're following down to the root, see what was that root emotion. I'm going to give you a good example of that in a minute. Clearing them out with the agape technique is really great, as we're going to go over it briefly later, or even tapping them out, guys. Yet sometimes it is difficult to access the emotions, right? Sometimes we sit here and we're just not there yet. We're just not in that observational space. So therefore, we're going to give you another tool, the emotional code book.
All right, so the emotional code book, I've got some things I want to share with you guys, but I'm going to go ahead and read this slide really quick for you. According to the emotional code book, there are a total of 60 negative emotions. Within the subconscious lies information that knows everything that you and why you experience specific conditions or deal with specific situations the way that you do. According to the emotion code book, trapped emotions are identified individually and released one at a time. So let me stop right there and explain why we do this one at a time. So if you have the emotional code book, this is going to be on page 155. And he says we only want to do them one at a time because when you expose and release an emotion, you are essentially picking up where you left off in the middle of your emotional experience. This doesn't mean you will experience that feeling all over again, but your body and spirit will be doing work in the background to process the energy. So when we are following the emotion code procedure properly, and we really need to implement this, we honor each emotional experience. It's kind of like what I was saying before. When we got with the shame, we allowed that reverence that it was okay to feel that shame. Yes, that has served me. So occasionally you will feel a rush of emotion from that trapped emotion when you discover it. So when I did the emotional code with my husband years ago, he was sitting in the chair, he wasn't feeling anything, and all of a sudden his face turned red, his body turned red, and he was having a hard time breathing. And I was like, are you okay? He said, I felt that release all through my body. So we can have those kind of experiences. But even if you just get a little hot or cold, or maybe you kind of giggle a little bit, all of those can be emotional releases. My upline burps when there's an energy emotional release. So if it were possible, releasing large amounts of emotions at a time would not allow us to honor each emotional experience as we need to. Processing that much emotional energy at once would put an impossible strain on our minds, our spirit, and our physical bodies. So, with that said, yeah, we want everything kind of cleared up like in a second. But as you can tell, over the things that have been said through these last 3 days and then this book, is that you need to be gentle with yourself and take things one at a time. So, not in groups or bundles, right? You don't want to be having one session where you're just sitting there tapping or clearing out one emotion after another. You want to be able to just stick with it. Every trapped emotional energy is significant in your life. Each one has had an impact on you in some way or another. Each comes from a specific time or event that has experienced either by you or someone else that you inherited or absorbed the energy from. These energies affect us in a variety of ways and create challenges, problems, and pains in all sorts of both physical and emotional. So we're going to expand on the absorb the energy, but I want to read one more thing about what he says regarding how we are to do these clearings. The first thing is we always want to get permission, right? We want to know, hey, is it okay for me to do this? Because everything is in perfect timing, folks. And there may be a reason that that needs to stay there, but maybe you're not strong enough for it, whatever it may be, honor that. So always get permission to say, hey, is it okay if I clear this emotion? The next thing is muscle testing is not for winning the lottery, right? And so, I know we're doing the money thing, but it's not about winning the lottery. Also, you do not want to use testing to make big decisions in your life because you need to allow yourself to be guided. There's a connection that has to take place, and you really need to be patient with yourself. So, the way that we do it is we obtain permission from the subject or from yourself, establish a baseline test, which you guys have all gotten really good practice at. We've gone over it twice now. You determine if a trapped emotion exists. Typically, it's going to be a yes, but it may be a no if it's not ready to be cleared, or if there's a heart wall, which you can study on that in the emotion code. Determine which emotion it is, release the trapped emotion, and then you'll check to see if the emotion has been released. So I want to give you those little tips before moving into the absorbing the energy. And Wendy's going to add to this as well, I know, because this is just so profound and so important. But when we are, and I've used this, so I tend to use the same examples to make it easy for you guys. When you go into Walmart, you've had a happy day, but then all of a sudden you're not feeling so good. You're like, why am I not feeling good right now? Why am I angry? Why am I ticked off at these people? Why am I feeling rushed? I mean, that's one of the things that hits me when I go grocery shopping is that I have to make sure I'm in my present time and in my present body so that I can control that I'm not absorbing this energy of people being rushed, going to the store, just throwing things into their buggy. But it's not just about the people around you. It's also about the things in the collective as well. So Wendy, I'm going to pause there and take a breath and let you add to the absorbing energy.
Yeah, thank you. So we're all connected, guys. And while, yes, most times, whatever we're broadcasting out, we're going to attract like energy to, again, give us an indication of what we need to clear out. Yes. But we're all connected. I know there's a couple of times that I've been sitting here just, puddling about my house, and all of a sudden I feel Velvet's energy, and I'm like, okay, what's up? Okay, I'll get on. What's going on, right? Because I feel her. And then sometimes another example is like, I'm walking through Trader Joe's, and I'm feeling great. I'm in a great mood. My daughter and I are in there, right? And I'm like, we split up the list. She gets her things, I get my things, so we can get out of there faster. And all of a sudden, and this is a true story. All of a sudden, I got very angry, just immediate anger. And I'm like, what the heck? Nothing happened. Nothing happened. There was nothing that was instigating this anger. So that's when I know my field and someone else's field just overlapped. And if someone's energy, their focus, I don't care if the focus is on anger, the focus is on love, the focus is on winning the lottery, it doesn't matter. If the focus is extremely intense and strong and has a lot of momentum, and you don't have a lot of strong energy, it's not a right or wrong, just, happens in your field, then their energy is going to infiltrate into your field. And all of a sudden you're going to feel exactly what they feel. And it's not that they're mirroring part of you. It's just that we're all part of each other. And so know that these things do happen, and it's nothing that you necessarily have to take responsibility for. That's why I said clearing statements are nice. We were going to add that, but we didn't really want to go further on in longer than we were probably going to go as it is anyway. But, real quick clearing statement that I always like to use is I command that this experience, this vibration that's being held in my body, I command it's pulled, canceled, and removed, and returned to its creator with consciousness and blessings and love. You can add anything in there you want, right? And I say that 3 times and it's gone. It's just gone. And there's so many other clearing statements. And if it's something interests you, perhaps we will, infiltrate that at some point. And those are just nice, quick things to clear out. Sherry, you had a question?
I was just thinking, sometimes I do protect my chakras and tie it at the top. I have a lot of friends that are healers and do all kinds of work, and they say the same thing, like they're exhausted or they doing Reiki and they pick that up. And I know there's probably many tools in which to protect your aura and your being. So that was just one that popped into my head when you said that, but I love clearing statements. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for coming forward and saying that. So Shari uses a particular method that she's been using and she believes in. Does that mean, therefore, since it works with her, you have to extrapolate it and you have to learn how to do it and use it? No. You find what works for you. You find what you're believing, because guess what? Your belief is what's going to clear it. If I basically said, Archangel Michael, command that you come down, clear my space, lift up into high vibration, take any low vibration, transmutation, unconditional love, and heal everybody that's connected to it, which I do have a belief because I work with Archangel Michael. Yes, it's going to happen. Find whatever works for you, but find something so that you can do that. Okay. So thank you, Shari, for sharing that. All right, now we're going to go into the Amagape. So I asked that from this point forward, that you don't take any pictures. No, I don't think I'm really sharing anything really heavy or whatnot. This is a trademark program that which God created or channeled down through me for me to create back in 2020. So I'm Agape is allowing yourself to truly live your life to the fullest. So I'm really bummed at this particular I think, oh, sorry, what happened? What happened? I don't know what's happening here. Hang on a minute, guys. I'm getting computer illiterate here. There we go. Okay, so restoring your love within yourself. Hang on, something else just popped up doing the way. Reclaiming your divine sovereign self is I'm Agape. So I'm Agape is all about healing your human being through embracing the love of God. I'm Agape restores your love within yourself, reclaiming your divine sovereignty identity. So just to really go over quick what I'm Agape is, you're not going to find it on the web. I know a lot of people have already tried to go and search for it. I don't have anything on the web yet. So Ayama means Ayama means healing down to the blueprint. Agape means love of God to man and the love of man to God. So basically through the love of God, we're healing down to the blueprint. So I'm So I'm agape, like I just said, is all about healing your human being through embracing the love of God. I'm agape restores your love within yourself, reclaiming your divine sovereignty and identity. So I was gifted this knowledge of the I'm agape process from Spirit in the early spring of 2020. Wonderful things sprung out of shutting down. It brought us all more into our eternal self and into our alignment of our divinity. So I'm agape gives us a practice tool to raise one's vibration through this ascension process. Many individuals have applied I'm agape with great success in releasing their emotional shackles, clearing lifelong energy blocks, feeling true freedom for the first time. You could see how this is almost like a repeat of tapping or even the emotional code. Embracing the current life and building from that, manifesting with ease, or I would now, that's old terminology, I'd say creating with ease, because we're in the new paradigm, allowing your vibration to rise into the 5D vibrations and truly feeling the love and support from the creator and within yourself. So you're going to start learning some things that might be conflicting. So we just learned that the emotional code, they want to take you one emotion at a time. Through the I'm agape process, we go through a series of emotions. So it's not to confuse you. It's literally to give you options. So literally when I'm clearing something, and I've got probably close to 10 different clearing techniques, I literally will ask my body through muscle testing, okay, to clear this, do I want to use tapping? Do I want to use the I'm agape processes? Do I want to use deprogramming, reprogramming? Do I want to go and use the vow technique, et cetera, et cetera? Oh, hang on, guys. I just realized I did not plug in my computer. And it's about,
Well,
go ahead.
can I add something to that, Wendy, while you're doing that?
Please.
So when Wendy, I've had an opportunity to have this session, and when she's talking about those emotions, a lot of times our like fear is not the basis of why we're afraid. There's going to be something deeper down in there.
Thank you so much for that, Velvet.
You're welcome.
Okay, so clearing your cellular level with I'm agape. So each and every experience that you've had created an emotion, as we spoke about already. Weak or strong will depend on the intensity or the charge that's around it. An acute emotion will anchor in powerful frequencies within your cellular level of your body. An acute emotion, sorry about that, charge can happen anytime throughout your life, usually through a tragedy that one experiences. So majority of our programs, as we mentioned before, and our emotional charges are mainly between that and 15 years of age. But if they're really strong, acute emotional charges, right? That means your cells are just broadcasting out really loudly, then those trauma experiences may continue through your 20s, your 30s, usually the time to kilter off around your 40s, but nevertheless, they may continue. So chronic emotional charges, let me back up. They will continue, but they will continue to be layering on new charges. Let's put it that way, through those new experiences. Chronic emotional charges are experiences that are somewhat bothersome. However, the power in these experiences is in the repetition that stimulates the limbic system. So the limbic system controls our basic emotions of fear, pleasure, anger, and it drives hunger, sex, dominance, care of offspring, et cetera, et cetera. Chronic emotional charges are created during childhood up to the age of 15. This is your general programming that plays like a broken record, getting louder and louder with time into adulthood, as we've already alluded to in the past. But why referring to the emotions as vibration? And we already went through that previously in that emotional scale. I move these slides around a little bit, guys. I know there's something here I wanted to mention. Okay, let me go back. So I'm going to give you an example of just a really simplistic example of what this might look like. So let's say you're a child and you're about 2 years of age. You're walking with your caregiver, babysitter, nanny, could be your parent, whatever, it's irrelevant. You're walking along. You've taken this path every single day for quite some time. You know that in the next 2 or 3 houses, there's a house that has a puppy. The puppy runs out, jumps on you and licks you, and you play with them in the yard for a while, and you're so excited and you're looking forward to this. You have nothing but pure joy emanating. But in front of you, about 20 to 40 feet, is a gentleman, or no, I should say gentleman, is a person right? And they're on their phone and they're, doing their thing and they're focusing while they're walking along. This dog or this puppy comes running out, it startles this person. The person goes into a gut reaction, kicks the puppy across the field or across the yard. Immediately, he also hears your and your caregivers, emotional, like, oh, aghast of what have you done? He knows now he's also, or I should say he, apologize for that. The person knows that they have now been busted, right? And they have been witnessed. Now, nobody usually likes to take responsibility when they do something wrong. That's also a program. So therefore, that person turns around and glares at them like, it's your fault. Don't look at me that way. Stop, makes it look like and makes it feel like the feeling that you're feeling as a child, looking at this person like, how could you, right? Is now getting the direct energy from that person going, what you're feeling is wrong, because they don't want to take responsibility. So they're making it you, it's your problem. It's kind of like what's going wrong with our world right now. So let's back up a little bit though. So when the person first got startled, you felt that too. Now, puppy walks up or runs up, he kicks it across the across the yard. You're feeling the puppy, a fear, pain, anguish. You feel those feelings too, because we're all connected, guys. I'm going somewhere with this. Keep hanging in there. Then when he turns around and he sees you being hurt and aghast and looking at him, his energy is looking at you, that what, giving you the indication of what you're feeling is wrong. So here we are, this is where programs are first created, right? They're all first created in a similar way, no matter what the age, but they're created in the same way. And you as a child start to cry because you're now have an overamount of emotions flooding through your body. You're feeling the puppy in pain. You just felt anger. You felt aggression. You felt fear. You felt wronged for feeling the way you feel. You felt at fault or shamed because of the way this person was looking upon you. And you're completely in confusion. You don't know what to do with all of these emotions. No child does. Give you a little hint. If you do have any grandchildren, this is the way you take care of it. You pull them into your arms. I'm going to cry. Sorry, hang on. Getting too much emotional into this story. No, it did not happen to me, but I'm just one of those people. But anyways, you pull that child into your arms and you just hold it. You just hold that child and you just love it. Yes. And you acknowledge to them what happened. Yes, that was scary, wasn't it? Yes, that was really, really sad that happened. Yes, that was very fearful because he was very aggressive with the puppy, wasn't it? Yes, that probably hurt the puppy. You bring out, and it's almost like, what are you doing? Because we're so in habit, right? Oh, you're okay. You're fine. Those are such BS words that need to be thrown out of our vocabulary. That's what was told to us from our parents, that you're okay. You're going to be fine. And no, that child's not going to be okay because, hello, we still have vibrations because we were told we're okay and we're not really okay. So, but anyways, you hold that child and you point out every single thing that you can think of. Yes, that hurts. Yes, let those tears flow. Yes, feel your emotional body, feel your body. Yes, it really hurts. I know I'm crying too. I see that dog. Let's go visit that dog. Let's hold that little puppy. Let's love that puppy. And you keep holding on to that child until that child is literally trying to push to get out of your arms. Because when they do that, then there's no, you help them process it and it's not sticking to the cell of your body because you processed it through. And when they're pushing to get out of your arms, that means it's clear. They're fine. And now they are truly fine. So, but we didn't really get that training when we were kids, did we? I wish we'd have a better world. But so here's this child that has all these cellular vibrations in their body of fear, aggression, pain, feeling shame, not worth it, not good enough, to be acknowledged and heard of how they are feeling. Those vibrations are in the body. And to the point where it's going to attract where that child is witnessing perhaps an argument with the mother and the father. Forgive me, I'm going to be generalizing in this story because that's my experience. So anyways, so they heard mom and dad arguing, and it's kind of fearful. And she's like 4 or 5 years of age. And she walks up to mommy and daddy. She goes, Mommy, Daddy, can you just, everything's okay? You know, can we just talk normal? And because it's kind of scaring me, or, you know, what have you, because she's kind of trying to come forth. And the mother turns her vision, herself away from her child. Child immediately gets the indication, you're being shunned. There's something I've done that's wrong. Father, meanwhile, turns around, looks at you, and starts yelling, what are you doing? This is none of your business. Get back to your room. You know, get out of here. So again, you've felt the aggression. You're now feeling fear again. You're feeling not worthy, not good enough. You're feeling shunned. You're feeling shamed. It's now amplifying already those previous vibrations that are going on in your cells. Now they're broadcasting louder, to the point when you're 11 or 12, an uncle, again, forgive me for the overgeneralization here, but the uncle shows up to babysit. He ends up sexually abusing her because, again, that's fear, that's overpowering, that's aggression, that's you're not worth it, you're not good enough, you're not worthy to listen to, et cetera, et cetera. And you can see how that will amplify those vibrations and continue and continue and continue, to the point where the person's probably feeling, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm going to get involved with drugs, I'm going to sell my body, you know, whatever. And actually, one of my clients went down that full pattern right there. So it's what we're trying to do. And so to continue with my client, when we got to the point where she's like, you know, I was sexually abused by my father. And so we had to say, okay, let's go to one of those moments, right? Let's go to one of those moments. What does that feel like? What does that feel like to you? And she's like, well, I feel hurt. I feel angry. And so we just followed the hurt. Okay, and hold the emotion hurt. Now, what shows up next? Because what we're trying to do is, she is in her 40s now. We're trying to travel all the way back to that little girl that witnessed the dog, because that is the pinpoint of the root that spreads outward to many different branches. And right now we're on the branch of being physically abused. We're going through that memory, and we're going to follow all the way down to the root to clear it completely out. And first of all, we always ask, is there a charge? Same things we do with tapping, or, you know, how much charge of it, how much positive, negative, et cetera, et cetera. And so she started out with hurt, went to anger, went to pain, went to feeling helpless. I'm just giving examples here. To not feeling worthy, not good enough. And then finally she goes down to the very base, you know, that memory, perhaps it was pain, and then sits with it. So you just sit with it, and your body will shift it and show you what's the next emotion backing it. And you go there and you sit with it for a minute. Now, a couple things can happen. Either A, you'll finally go over the other side, where you're no longer in physical form. You're actually just feeling like you're in bliss. And that's wonderful. Or you might just sit there in the pain and it doesn't go any further. And that's fine too. And so that is the first step, is acknowledging and seeing it. So the reason we're giving you the I'm Agape, so you can ask, which process will work for me? And this is just one more process. So if, however, while you're doing this process, and let's say my client going from the sexual abuse down, and let's say she went down to I feel pain and anger, and that's it. Now I know that's not it, and that's what goes into you know, help me out here, Velvet, goes into the emotion code book, where it said the heart. What was it? Heart point. You just said it a while ago.
It's the heart wall. So if they have a heart wall, then it's protecting that emotion. They're not going to be able to get through it. It's a special technique that they
Right.
have to do.
Right.
Mhm.
So if you hit this heart wall and you're on your own, then that's why I brought in the emotional code. So you can refer to that and work with that. Myself and Velvet, we all have our different techniques, but sometimes we can get in. I know I can get into you energetically with your permission and start to vibrate things and try to work there. And sometimes it takes several sessions to do so. But nevertheless, you know, that's what we can work with. But some people do have heart walls. I like to call it a cement slab. Because we built that cement slab so we don't feel that. So why? So we can still survive and we can still be a normal human being versus completely depressed and down on the floor. So we create that cement slab so we can stand back on it, create a new foundation, and kind of go from there. But the thing is we're so used to that cement slab, it's like we're so used to gravity, you don't even pay attention that it's there all the time, or we don't, we take it for granted. And the same thing with that cement slab, we just don't realize it's there all the time. And so it takes some time to soften that up and give yourself permission. I know that when I went through my cement slab, to me, it was a dam. And I was told, you have to break the dam. And I'm like, I won't live through it. There is so much emotion and so much pain and turmoil behind it. I will die if I open up that dam. And that again is a program and a process that we have told ourselves because it was really big to that little child. Us as adults, we have more coping programs. We know how to move things around. We know how to understand things or intellectually know what the other person was going through, not to give them excuses, but we know how to work with it a little bit better. But as a child, you don't. Everything was just really overwhelming. And so, fear is huge. But seriously, it's just a very, very thinner than tissue paper to walk through. So if you do have one of these moments, keep going there until you feel I am safe. I am in a safe environment. I trust myself. I love myself. God is with me. I know that I wouldn't come to this place of ready to clear this if I wasn't ready to clear this. I give my body permission to open up and allow me to see. I give my body permission to open up and allow it to be released. And so those are some things that you can do if you hit that wall. So moving on. Okay, so 4 basic steps to the Amagape process, which is awareness of the emotional trigger. We already know that. Follow the emotion to the point of origin. We just did that. Now, I always tell people to put this all in a bubble. Put all these experiences, these thoughts, these emotions in the bubble before you, imaginary bubble. Now I want you to turn those emotions into hertz, into vibration, into colors, into energy. What I'm trying to do is remove the judgments from that. Judgments get in the way of us releasing things. So remove those judgments. Like for instance, if were trying to clear out cancer, right? Cancer is huge. It has a big program. It's been drilled into our heads to fear, and it's going to take you out. It's got a big charge, big judgment on it. You need to remove that label and just look at that vibration on its own. It's just a vibration, not a right or a wrong. So if you can, when you put those things in the bubble, allow yourself to just kind of allow your imagination to open up. Do you see colors? Do you see spikes? Do you see energy moving about? Whatever. Maybe you don't see anything. That's okay too. Just allow it to be what it is in the vibration that it is, not in the actual anger, fear, sexual abuse, whatever. And secondly, you want to stay out of mind thoughts. Well, I remember when Violet and I talked about don't get caught up in your story. Stories will take you down the darker path, the lower vibrational path. Don't get caught up in your story. Don't get caught up in your head. You want to listen to your emotion or your physical body reactions. Just like Velvet said with her husband, he just turned flush red and he goes, just release something, right? That was a physiological response to him actually releasing something. And your body does this all the time. So listen to that or to your emotions. So once you have them all in the bubble, you're going to go and pull them into your body, pull that bubble into your body. Now, a lot of people, especially if it's a very big triggering trauma that you're remembering that you're trying to clear from your past, you're like, why do I want to pull this in my body, right? What is that? That is like, oh, I don't want it. Excuse me. I don't want it. You're resisting it. What did we say earlier? What did Velvet just say earlier? What you resist persists. That energy is you. That's your energy, and you're resisting part of you. So pull that energy into your body and create ownership. You've been resisting it your whole life. Has that worked for you? It hasn't. So own it. So you repeat, I am this vibration. I am this frequency. I am these feelings. I am these emotions. I am this vibration. I am this frequency. I am these emotions. I am these feelings. And you keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it and repeating it until you feel your physical body change. For me, it just feels heavier and more here. Okay. Once you reach that state, then you transmute the energy into unconditional love. I love this vibration. I love this frequency. I love this vibration. I love this frequency. And you keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it until you feel absolute unconditional love in your being. A couple things are happening with that. Guys, you are extremely powerful beings. You are the most powerful being on this planet. There is no dark force that's on this planet, no devil, no Satan, no whatever name you want to give it, has more power over you. No, it does not. You are the more powerful being. You are never in victim. Victim means you've given somebody or something else your power, saying you have power over me. The divine is you. The divine works through you. The divine works through all of us. We are all divinity. Okay? So you are so unbelievably powerful. Therefore, nothing has power over you. When saying, I love whatever, you are telling your whole body, I love you. We all have been programmed not to love ourselves. We all have been programmed we're not enough. And that, in essence, is turning our back on our divinity, because our divinity is unconditional love. So by saying, I love these emotions, these frequencies, which are you, which are all your cells is all your mind, all your thoughts, your emotion, everything. And it goes through all levels of body, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, etherical. All of that's being vibrated when you say, I love these emotions, these vibrations, these frequencies. You're actually recharging your cells with love. You're actually loving yourself more. And you're also taking those low vibrations of all those frequencies that you just got through going through, and you're moving them up into a higher vibration of unconditional love. And they're gone. And that release may feel like a deep breath, flush in your system, like Velvet just got there alluding to. She said one of her clients burps. I got one of my clients. I love her and I love working with her because she laughs uncontrollably. And it's one of those laughs you can't help but laugh too. Just lifts everything up. You know, whatever it may be for you. For me, it's a deep sigh. It's a feeling of nirvana and just gratitude and just wholeness. So for whatever for you it may be, it's no judgment. Just know, oh, that's what that releases for me now. Next time it may be laughter. Next time it just may be a flush. Next time you might not feel anything. But the thing is, after you're through, you want to ask yourself, whatever your charge was in the beginning. Now I'm going to go all the way back to when I said I had a charge with wearing masks, being told to wear masks. So when I cleared this in the beginning, I had 100% charge and it was completely and absolutely mine. It wasn't my mother's, it was my father's. It was complete and absolutely mine. When I got through working through this process, I said, okay, thinking about wearing a mask, how much charge of it? No charge at all. Is that 0% charge? Correct. So you re-gauge it. If it still has somewhat of charge, that means somewhere in there, maybe you hit a heart block and you weren't aware of it. So just go through it again and see what kind of shows up for you. So if you want to know more information or if you want to work with me personally, you can just reach out. We can do an I'm Agape session. I would love to go ahead and actually do an I'm Agape webinar strictly on I'm Agape, but I tap into each and every one of you, and that might be a little more challenging for me. And if someone does have one of those heart blocks, that takes a lot more time. And so I don't know how we're going to go about that, but I've used this technique with Velvet. Velvet, you want to share?
Yeah, I was so appreciative when Wendy did this because she just picked up, let's do it. And I posted a picture of myself right after we did the session. I felt the energy clear and it wasn't anything that I thought that it was. So she did a really good job finding out what the real cause was. I got up from there. Spirit said, take a shower. I felt like that was to continue the release of the energy and just to ground. And when I took a picture of myself, nobody could believe that it was me. There was no filters, nothing going on. It was the transformation that had taken place in that moment, just in that moment. And I remember that night just feeling at peace and smooth. So yeah, most of us are wearing patches and that's helping us on a physical level. But when you have the I'm Agape that can help even on a deeper level to pinpoint that origin, oh my gosh, the release is just amazing. So I really, if you've got something like Megan was talking about being stalked. And so Wendy, I did tell her, you really need to talk. She really needs to talk with you because stalking is a fear now of that. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be attacked, but I don't want to live in that idea that I'm constantly going to be attacked. So now how do I protect myself? How do I keep myself on alert? But how do I live feeling safe? So I think those are one of the areas that you could really help her with. And then Janice mentioned something in the chat, and I think that many of us mothers can relate that when we look back in our time, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that as a mother. I wish I had known better. Or this is a good one, is that, gosh, I could have been so much better, right? I could have done better as a parent. The reality of it is that you did exactly what you knew to do with the energy and information that you had. But again, maybe there's something else that Agape could help you to see where that point of origin came from. Because if it's something about you feeling like you weren't a good parent, might be one of your parents also trained you how to do that or implemented that. So I would really reach out to Wendy to get that one resolved. But in the meantime, just know that you did the best you could do with what you had. And that's true for all of our parents, even for those of us that continue to judge our parents that my parents could have done better or they should have done this or that. No, my parents were young. I don't criticize them at all. They were children themselves when they had me. So I'm just grateful to be alive. To be honest, they did the best that they knew how to do. And in some way, I actually think that released me from any ties to any of their mistakes, so to speak, of what they might have had, because I say that to myself all the time. I'm doing the best I can, and that's good enough.
Yeah.
And when you know better, you do better.
Yeah. 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 Thank you for that. And guys, for those of you that are not aware, we are eternal beings. Energy cannot die. It just simply changes form. Fact. And in our eternal state, we agree upon our parents. We agree upon certain experiences. We agree upon, this might be hard for some people, but in past lives, for my belief system, and, I know that I've been killed and I agreed to be killed in that way. So you got to remember that all our kids got brought in, I've got older children too, and I wish I knew this knowledge even back then when I did not, right? But nevertheless, they knew what they were coming into. They knew the experiences that they were going to have, and they wanted those experiences. Again, there's nothing wrong or bad or terrible about anything in this human experience. It's just an experience, and our soul just wants to experience all aspects of the God self expressing itself and creating and all the creation that's around it so that we can reflect upon ourselves and how we feel. And this human body is absolutely miraculous. And so every experience is actually a most positive and wonderful experience in the soul realm as such. So, your kids, they knew what they're going to get. And, all we can do is move forward from here with the information that we are learning. Another question, Jean, or not question, but comment from Jean Day. She said, this is so foreign to me. I don't have kids, and my parents always told me to suck it up and get over it. Jean, I would say that statement in general basically just, told you to put a lid on anything that's ever bothering you, because you're not being honored about your feelings and what's going on, what you're thinking, how you're feeling, and just, step back up and just keep moving on. And so that might be a place for you to kind of allow yourself to soften and to really feel how you're really feeling, what may have been shoved down. There may not be anything shoved down, but just to really kind of take another gander there, because I know, just like my father told me, shut up or I'm going to give you something to cry about. I learned really quick to stop crying. And for a long time, I didn't cry. And I thought that was okay. And I learned, no, it's not okay. Your body needs to have that emotional release through tears. And everything about your being, whatever expression it may be, emotional, mental, or whatnot, is your body expressing energy to try to get it out, to rid it from the system. Anything else here? Okay. So now we're going to move on to mantras, guys. So mantras, have been used, oh my dear Lord, for centuries. But in our day and age, what we're basically stating is saying something again and again and again. And what in essence it's really doing, it's programming your own brain. So anything that you do on repetition, you're programming it. And, earlier we talked about the diagnostic tool, similar to muscle testing, where that video where the guy was holding her hand, her legs, her feet. And he referred to Louise Hay's Healing Your Body. And that's another great book to have on hand. You can see it's been used considerably. I've had it probably for about 25 years. But nevertheless, what I love about Louise Hay's is like she goes into, let's see, I just opened up a page here. There's muscles. So right there, muscles. And then she talks about what perhaps, and then there she's got a mantra, something to state over and over again to help out your muscles. So in case you didn't hear it, muscles, so if there's an issue, that means you have a resistance to new experience. Muscles represent our ability to move forward in life. So the mantra to help clear this out is I experience life as a joyous dance. And that also can be aha in something for you to muscle test and maybe tap out. Am I joyous about my life? Am I joyous in moving forward? No. Okay, well, then let's clear that out. That sort of thing. But so that's a similar mantra that you can definitely use as a reference. Just like, Spirit gave me a mantra when I was, because something's going on in my life. I was really in sync and able to see things come to me with ease last year. And with all the events that happened, I'm, down in the third dimension, and I'm, going in reactive mode again instead of responsive mode. And I'm like, okay, I've got to get a handle on this fast, because that can be perpetuate in the direction I don't want to go. And that's what Spirit kept pounding in the mantra. You are the creator of your experience. And that's what I'm consistently saying on a regular basis. In a way, it's overriding that story of low vibration that was like a broken record in my mind. Is overriding, because I'm saying you're a creator of your own experience again and again and again. So I'm not hearing that story anymore. Velvet?
Oh, I was paying attention to you. I got wrapped up into that. So yeah, it's absolutely right.
Something did come to mind though. So many of us, we start with those mantras that I am, and they are absolutely okay. But if the subconscious mind does not believe that, like if you don't believe it, the subconscious mind is going to show you that you don't. And so what we look for is that next mantra that can be true, that will now help us to move to that next level. Like, I am wealthy. If you did that and you're not feeling the mojo to that, then there could be some financial issues that will arise. And a lot of people tell me that when I say I'm wealthy, now things get worse. Well, but what about the world is so abundant? Money is always available. Those are mantras as well when it comes to financial. So I just wanted to add that in. I don't know why I got so wrapped up in your story, but I probably could relate.
All right. So with that, guys, that's it. All right, for this particular, why is it not going anywhere? Come on. We'll go to the next one. Pretty interesting. So that is it for this particular, now this is the end, actually. This is the end of module 1 of basically giving you the diagnostic tools and the ways to clear them out. That's it. So next week, we're going to go into the actual training or clearing of the inhale, exhale technique when it comes to bringing money in. Now, the thing is we could not jump directly into that because you had to clear your runway. So literally when I was shown this particular technique from Spirit, I had to clear my runway, guys. And that took, for me, that took a couple months. Well, and I started clearing my runway probably 3 to 4 weeks, same as you. And when I started learning, implementing the technique, stage 1, the first stage, I was still clearing my runway while still working on that particular next stage. So you are never going to stop using your diagnostic tools and using your clearing techniques. And so just remember that all this is about is expanding into who you truly are and who you are truly meant to be. This is getting you back into reclaiming your knowledge. I don't know why this won't click for me anymore.
Are we there?
We are, there we go. So if you would like to, so this of course is free, and the replay, we'll see if I have actually, Velvet, hopefully it'll help me find the replay. I'll stick it together. So it might take me a little bit longer to upload it, but from whatever time I upload it, it'll be available on the Telegram group for 24 hours to watch. Then it'll be taken down. If you want it in your library or any of the previous ones in your library where you'll have it as long as YouTube continues to carry it, you can just send me a very, small donation and it's yours. I'll send you the link and you'll be able to watch it at your leisure. So with that being said, I'm going to stop my share and we can answer any questions that you may have.
So Janice was putting in the chat if we could share some of the mantras that you were talking about. So what about if we put those in the Telegram group?
Okay. Yeah, it's a good call. Thank you. I like that. Any specific, Janice, addressing anything specific? Ouch.
Sorry, I was trying to find my microphone to unmute me. No, the ones you say about the money.
Okay. Oh, so that would be Velvet. You had a few that you popped out with.
Yeah, so the world is abundant. Money is always available. You could even say money is all around me and flows to me easily. Money flows in life, so it's not personal, so that you're accepting that money is flowing now so that it can now come to you. But as I was saying, if you say, I am wealthy and I have lots of money, that may be not quite where you're ready to elevate yet. And this was proven to me with a doctor that I had as a client. And something about money came up. I don't even know what we were talking. He goes, well, I'm rich, so I'm not worried about it. And he said it with such ease and such grace that I knew, yeah, this is the reason why that guy is the way that he is because, hey, I always have money. Janice, yes, freely I receive and freely I give. Now, I changed this one just a little bit. I always have more than enough and plenty to share. Right? Because sometimes what happens when we say that I freely give, now all of a sudden, all these people come out of the woodwork. I'm very careful with my words, folks, because as a manifester, it's very, very fast. And I mean, I can say something and immediately it can manifest. So I'm just very, very careful with how I speak because I do know that our words are casting spells.
Yeah, words are powerful.
How much better can it get?
Yeah. So anytime anything happens good to you guys, again, be in that observation, be in that witness mode so you can see them. So when they do happen, you go, how much better can it get? I've got my grandson when he was little, he can find anything on the ground. Oh, most kids can, right? Because they're right there and they're just picking things up. But he'd find a dime. And I go, cool, how much better can it get? And I programmed him with that statement or that mantra. And guess what? He finds rings, he finds $50 bills. I mean, it's amazing. This kid finds so much money and I'm not even seeing it, but he does because he's kind of focused on that. So, how much better can it get? What's another one for money? You'll learn through the next program. Money, this is my mantra for money is inhale, exhale, and you'll learn what that's about. But the second part is I know my next breath will always be there, just like I know money will always be there. There's a better one there. Sorry, I'm trying to think. Oh, I think not Louise Hayes. Who's the gal that Abraham Hicks. Oh, if you ever want to go good pumping up, go to YouTube, just go Abraham Hicks Money. She has really good insight, and she will basically talk about so many mantras. We will actually put on this, it's a series. She has like, there's a couple videos, there's just like a series of mantras of her words. And I remember her husband, who is very wealthy, he said, whenever something broke, right, we're programmed like, oh, dang it, that broke. And now he goes, oh, goody, something I get to buy. Right? He made it into a positive experience. Great. I get to go look for it. This is exciting. He also says, I have more money than I ever could spend in a moment. And that's what he said all the time. I have more money than I could ever spend in a moment. And it could be this moment be $5 and the next moment could be 5,000, but I have more money than I could ever expend. So you're going to learn how money is just energy, guys. It's not we may presume that this is a tangible object. You got to remember, what is it? It is molecules in motion. This desk, this laptop, the wall, we perceive it to be solid. It's still molecules in motion. It's still moving. There have been many times where some sages have moved their hand right into a wall of a cave. You just got to be, at the same vibration of those molecules. It is all an illusion, and we created this world. So money is just like this piece of paper, right? We can go ahead and we can create it. I created it. Somewhere along the line, I wanted Post-it notes. So somebody went ahead and created them. And then when I really needed it and I wanted them, I wanted a piece of paper that stuck to a wall. I looked and I said, oh, dear Lord, there it is. Right? We all co-created together and it was available to me in that moment.
I think Megan might have a comment or a question. Megan, do you have something?
No, ma'am,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. I wasn't sure if your hand was up, and I know that I answered the question in there. So,
Oh, you're muted again, love.
Oh, I was just playing with my pen.
okay. Awesome.
All right. Well, guys, so next week, I'm just going to reiterate, 11 o'clock, same time, and we're going to start the actual technique. It will be recorded, but there will not be freely open recording to watch for 24 hours. If you want to watch the recording with net free period, you must contact me. You don't have to make a donation, but you must contact me. That is trademarked information, so you cannot take pictures of it. We ask that you please be, forthright. And so you can watch it, but after that 24-hour period, it's going to go back into the archives. And if you want to retrieve it, then it'll be a donation for that. And because people are taking information, so I want to make sure that information is not being taken.
Yeah.
All right. All right. It's good to see everybody.
Thank you, guys. Yeah. So
All right,
Wendy, if you'll stop the recording, I think you already
Did you
No.
stop the recording?
Not yet, but I will.